Hello and welcome to our March edition of Doing Business in Rwanda, where we explore Rwanda's energy sector specifically. We focus on the escalating demand for energy, the various alternative energy sources being sought to meet this demand, opportunities in the sector and the outlook going forward. Welcome to the show. I'm Alicia Seckham. Well, for all economies across Africa, access to energy is critical in driving economic growth. Rwanda is no exception, more so with a development blueprint which seeks to see the country industrialize into a middle-income economy by the year 2020. Loise Wachira takes a closer look at the sector's current status, its challenges and efforts towards addressing them.
Energy availability across East and Africa at large continues to be a limitation towards most countries' industrialization efforts. In Rwanda, the country has been highly reliant on hydro and imported fuel-powered energy sources, which are insufficient in addressing the growing demand in a country whose annual growth rate stands at slightly over 7%.
Currently, we are producing 110 megawatts from two main sources: hydropower, that is around 70% of the generation, and thermal generators that are mainly used in the peak time. From there, we plan to give access to electricity to up to 70% of the country in 5 years, and the generation will be reaching 1,000 megawatts in 5 years.
Large-scale consumers feel that the available capacity is not enough to meet their daily demand, which also resonates across energy access expectations from a household consumption level.
Sometimes the voltage is low and fluctuates in the voltage, and sometimes the UASA breakdown take a long time to return the power back in operation. And we don't have any other alternative of energy to operate our plant. So we are struggling if interruption in power, we are struggling in our operation.
Energy for the economy is like what food is for our body. You can't talk about economy without energy. The time energy is available, the needs also follow. I can give you an example. Some big companies tried to come here and install huge industry in the country, but some of them were asking to have 25 megawatts on a continuous basis. It was not possible to take the most part of the production we are using and allocate it to one industry.
Other than capacity, the sector faces challenges of getting investors to buy into the alternative energy sector due to the high capital investment outlay required to finance these projects.
The biggest challenge we have, and I think it's not only Rwanda, it's all the countries in the region, is the early stage financing. I mean by this one, the access to the financing for the feasibility study, because most of the projects we want to put in place, I can talk about geothermal, for example. I can talk about methane gas extraction on Lake Kivu. I can talk about peat extraction, peat harvesting, and the use of peat to produce power. All those projects are new in the region, and sometimes to start those projects, you need the financing for the early stage, the one which is more risky. So by considering the capacity of our local business people to conduct such kind of projects, it's sometimes complicated because the business understanding in the region, people are not familiar with investing in a feasibility study without knowing surely that you will be able to generate money from that. So this is the main challenge we are having in the region, especially in the energy sector. And the second challenge we are facing is access to the financing. After getting a good financial and technical feasibility study, sometimes also to get access to the financing is also another problem we are facing. But we are, I think, on the right path today because of the financial crisis. Most of investors in Europe and America now started focusing on Africa
Many people have money, would rather do quick business and get their returns rather than investing something, although sure, but on spread on years to come. So that's the problem. And again, I think you know that Rwanda, the availability of money is not really that big. So that also restrains people who would like to invest in energy.
I think when you discuss to any investor, they said the cost of electricity is so high. And if you look around, also you find out that we have been having electricity from hydropower. So hydropower, it's not really, we have different sources of a small micro hydro, but it is still small. As a country as Rwanda, we have now 8% growth in terms of economics. So I think there is many industry who don't come because of that cost of electricity. And the cost of electricity, for example, it can go up to more than 50%, like cost of production. So if we can lower this cost of electricity, for sure, people will come.
In line with Rwanda's 2020 vision, the country hopes to increase the available energy capacity from the current 110 megawatts to 1,000 megawatts by 2017, which it hopes to generate from methane, geothermal, peat, and hydropower sites across the country.
The target of the country is to produce 1,000 megawatt in 2017. So the gap is still huge because we still have 4 years to reach that gap. It's a huge challenge. But we think that if we get access, if we get a solution for those two major points, early stage financing and access to the financing when the project really proves that it's commercially viable, I think it will be possible to move quickly because the resources are available. I can talk, for example, about solar. It's not normal that in Europe and America they are using solar and they don't have a lot of sun. Here we are near the equator and we are not using solar. So we have renewable energy like solar, some wind, but we can also tap in our natural resource like gas, peat. We have geothermal potential. The potential is really high. We can tap into hydropower. We have a lot of sites already with feasibility study ready for implementation. I think the potential is there.
Of these alternative energies, one which stood out for me was peat, which is derived from decayed vegetation. Rwanda is estimated to have reserves of up to 155 million tons, capable of generating 450 megawatts of energy per year for 25 years. But what opportunities are prevalent within this and other forms of alternative energy?
In terms of peat business, I think as a source of energy, peat is alternative compared to heavy fuel oil we are using now in Rwanda or diesel to produce electricity, because the cost of production for heavy fuel oil, it's almost more than triple to cost of production if we are using peat. So Rwanda has a huge reserve of peat, and I think this is an opportunity for Rwanda to use this local sources to produce electricity. The other thing is we are creating jobs locally. We are changing the life of people living around the peat mining area. And if we are using peat for energy production, we have benefit more than using heavy fuel oil. And this is for investor, I think peat business is new in Rwanda. Peat energy company have been specialized in peat mining. So we are call for investor, especially for those who are in power production by using biomass or coal. So we are ready to supply any amount of peat they can need to produce electricity.
I think the renewable energy sector is really open, and I think there are so much opportunity because already the energy that they produced isn't satisfying the customers. So there's still a big demand. We are not perhaps producing more than 60% of the demand, and the demand is quite increasing. And so I think the opportunity is there. Again, the government that said that the local population at the lowest level should have access to electricity, to the energy. I think the opportunity also is there for anyone who is interested.
Simera Limited, the largest cement manufacturer, already utilizes peat to the tune of up to 25% capacity of its operational requirements in processing clinker used to make cement.
Previously, we have used for a long time heavy fuel, and it's a product we import from outside. Then we don't have the control of prices of it since long time. So now we prefer to use peat because it's an alternative energy than which we found here around. And nowadays we are using around 25% of it, according to in terms of energy or kilocalorie in firing and burning system. So now, we used to use like 1,600 kilocalorie per kilogram of clinker produced. So then we use alternative energy to reduce the cost of oil, because oil is going much more up and up in costs.
In return, this has helped them realize savings which have positively reflected on their operational costs and ultimately on their bottom line.
In all cement factories, the only clinker production regulates the cost of cement. So if you reduce the cost of production of clinker, then you have to reduce directly, it's the same, to reduce the price of the cement.
Once we are able to access affordable energy, reliable, our major companies from mining, steel, agro-business will certainly be more competitive because the outcome or the output will be affordable.